been married for the past 15 years. And for 15 years, I have been wondering how to escape from this suffering. I'm finally free. Free for my children. I come from a conservative family in Batticaloa. A nerve injury at birth left me with a lifeless leg. But this never defined me. I had learned to adapt with my disability and live a normal life. As soon as I turned 18, my family was on the lookout for a husband for me. I was scared. I didn't know the first thing about being a wife. Devi, this is your duty as a woman. You will one day become a mother and realize how much you will sacrifice for the happiness of your children. My mother's words to me on my wedding day have stuck with me all my life. He was 15 years older. He came highly recommended as a suitable bachelor for me. With the limited interactions that I had with him, he seemed like a decent man. I only discovered his drinking problem and drug addiction after marriage. Most nights he would come home drunk. He would get angry and start throwing his dinner at me. It was either too little salt or too much salt. He would drag me to our bedroom and rape me, but I never said anything. We have 2 children now. His drunken escapades continued, and so did his forcefulness with me in the confines of our bedroom. I endured it all for my children. This past month was the tipping point. With COVID-19, an island-wide curfew was announced. No shops, no school, no liquor. My husband hated staying at home. If the children were playing, it would irritate him. If I listened to the radio, it would irritate him. I still kept quiet. It was all for my children. A few people in the neighborhood found a way to locate some illicit alcohol. This aggravated the situation. One evening, he returned home from an afternoon of drinking. He started shouting and complained how the children and I were a burden. I begged him not to be so harsh in front of the children, but he continued. He started bashing things on the floor. He looked like a madman. I no longer recognized my husband in him. He slapped me hard for speaking up to him. I was dragged by my hair out of the house to the entrance. He looked at me like I meant nothing and spat on me. My little brave son tried to come to my rescue. My husband turned around and started hitting him with a wooden rod. This was the last straw. I had endured everything in silence for 15 years, all for my children. But this has gone too far, and now my children are in danger. This is where I draw the line. I started to scream and shout as loud as I could. He started to hit me harder. I didn't care. I kept shouting for help. This had to stop. One of the neighbors had called the emergency hotline, and no sooner when the authorities arrived, they arrested my husband on charges of domestic violence. I knew I had to get away too, for my children. I called the 1938 Women's Helpline. They immediately connected me to the nearest government-owned women's shelter run by Women in Need in Batticaloa, and arranged for the authorities to accompany my children and I. I received counseling, legal advice, and was cared for, lovingly, something I had not felt in years. I haven't heard from my husband since, but after 15 years, I finally feel safe. I've realized that I didn't deserve any of this. I can now hope for a better future, not just for my children, but for myself. I learned new skills and learned to be independent. Please seek help when you need to. Help is just a call away. Call 1938, the National 24-hour helpline for women, or the Women in Need 24-hour helpline 0775 676 555